Good morning, everybody. My name is Harry Jacobs. I am the North of 60 Gamer, and welcome to the North of 60 Gaming channel. Today we are going to take on a very hard game, but it is a small box. I've seen a lot of reviews around. I've tried to play this. I can't figure out the rules. It's not clear to me, and I take that as challenge accepted. So we're going to go down to the table and look at BIOS Genesis. This is a game in which you're going to take the primordial ooze and try to create life forms in order to get life started. This is a series of games. So there's 3 games in this series. I do have the second game. The third game is proving to be a little tough to find. But I'm going to be in Toronto in a few weeks and going to be looking at that. So without any further ado, let's get down to the table. Let's open up the box and see what we need to do to organize this thing. So here is the box, and it is a small box game. There's my hand to scale just to show you the size of this game. It's by Phil Eklund by Eon Games, and this is Biogenesis, the molecular arms race game. Say that 5 times fast. On the back, I'm not even going to try to read that. I am sorry. It's just too small. But it encompasses the first 4 billion years of life on Earth. And you can see some of the cards right there. And it's suitable for competitive, cooperative, and solitaire play, which is what I am most interested in. So let's get this box open. I have my little implement of destruction. Always one of the morning challenges when you do these videos in the morning is kind of get the shrink wrap off without looking like a complete unprofessional, which I am not. I am not a professional. I am an amateur. The definition of a professional is someone who gets paid to do work, and I don't get paid for this. So that makes me an amateur content creator. I am not paid by anybody. So what you hear is my own opinions about games. Let's open this box up and yay! Oh my gosh, look at all the stuff that's in there. So we got all kinds of bags, but that's okay. I've got other things I can use because I hate bags. In fact, most of these come in bags. Most of these will go out in bags. We have, looks like we have markers of some sorts and flat markers, square markers, oval, half oval markers, dice, cards, very colorful cards, and this is a Viroid. Well, that's going to be interesting. Oh, look at that. Okay, we got our rules, and then we have, not quite sure what these are. Organized something. So I'm not quite sure what these are. We're going to have to explore the rules a little bit. I may have to watch a few videos because I understand that this is very complicated. And we're going to figure that one out. I should have some sleeve sizes for that. I'll let you know. What do we have here? Part 1 of the BIOS trilogy. This is book 2. This is book 1. Oh my god. Hopefully that's not rules. Too small, okay. Oh my gosh. Well, as you know, I've been complaining about cataracts for quite a while here, and look at this. If you can read this, you're better than I am. That's okay. I will go download a PDF because that's generally what I do, but this would be impossible for me to read. Well, it's not too bad, but it's so small. Draw an event card, assignments, bions, auto static roll. Oh my god, Darwin roll. Oh my gosh. Look at, there's a huge amount of rules. No wonder people are like, oh my god, small box. We want to be. This is not a 5x5 game. I don't know what book 2 brings us. Oh, this is part 1, book 2, part 1. I don't know whether this is solo rules versus cooperative rules. We'll explore it. We're going to let you know. I have no idea. Oh, and we have another handy, looks like reference sheet of some sort. I don't know what I've gotten myself into, but we're going to find out. And you're going to join me. I could be like Time Team. Hi, join me down at the table where we explore 4 million years of life in just 1 hour. Time Team! So I am back. I have organized BIOS Genesis, and let's just open the box here. Rules are on top as always. This is book 2. We have a reference sheet and the rules. One of the complaints, and I've watched a few videos, one of the big complaints, of course, again, I'm just going to emphasize, is these 52 pages of little tiny itty bitty print. There is a lot going on in this game for a small box. It is a brain burner. Watching a couple of videos, and there's one really good one out there, and I hope that I can live up to that video that I saw because it was absolutely amazing. And I'm hoping that I can live up to doing something similar to help you. One of the things that they didn't really cover off was a little bit better explanation of the setup and how the game sets up. And so we're going to spend a little time doing that. And I think that'll be the only video. I think we'll do that. I think that'll be the first part of the video is we're going to cover the unboxing, the organization. We're going to go through the components a little bit and then go through a setup. And then we're going to stop there. At which point then we're going to do a separate video on the play. There is a lot going on, and this game is going to be very hard to learn. So I'm hoping to own that and help you play what looks like a really interesting game that takes place in the very formation of as the earth crust starts to cool, and the first enzymes start to come together to form basic protozoa or microorganisms, and hopefully by the end of the game we can grow those into macroorganisms. Whew. So here goes a lesson in how to create life. So let's get down to the table and play, but first, this is the organization. I have these wonderful beaded boxes. I picked these up from Amazon. It's about 32 for about 24 bucks. They are so much better, and I can fit them in the box. We have our dice. I'm just going to leave them in there. We have 2 different types of decks, and of course our types of landscape type of tiles. I don't know the right names for them, but this is Thorin Storm Clouds, and this looks like it's a water-based. And then you can turn them into organisms. So these are your microorganisms. And with a little luck, you'll be able to attach some mutations on it and then make it a macro organization. But that's all that's in the box. It's a very simple what's in the box. These are your enzyme cubes. These are your cubes. These are your bionts. And the biont is what you do to grow. And it's a fundamental to growing an organism in the primordial soup of what is going on in the earth during the heating and cooling and bombardment of things coming down. So without further ado, let's learn the game. And on we go. We are going to start our setup here for Biogenesis. Up here, we are going to start with that Refugia cards. We have Cosmic, Ocean, Coastal, and Continental. Those are the 4 Refugia cards. On top of them, we are going to put the inactive cards on top, because not all of them will activate every turn. And we are just doing the setup at the moment. Actually, we have the wrong card in the wrong spot. There we are. The Oceans, and then the Continental. And that is the first part of our setup. This is our soup. Now they say to put it in a cup. So here's our soup. This is what's considered mana, and they will go on a refugium. And at some point through the process, they're going to organize themselves, and eventually they're going to become organisms, onto the organisms, and then red is going to be amino acids, yellow is lipid vesicles, green is POB, polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons, and blue is nuclear bases. Now you may think, oh, I know this stuff off the top of my head. No, the rules are sitting right over there in the other screen, and I have to look over every once in a while. This is how complicated the game is. So we have our soup. And that is the first of our setups. Next up, we're going to take our mutation cards. And here's what a mutation card looks like. You can see there's a strand here, and these are different symbols on the strand. This particular one is a Calvin cycle. And there are 20 of these strands here. And what we're going to do is give them a shuffle. And they go strand side up. Not the double strand, the strand side up. Eventually they will turn into a more complicated, perhaps. But we shuffle them up. And then basically what we do is put 5 each. Just like that. And every turn we're going to do what they call a royale. Once we're done, it looks something like this. So once we've set out and shuffled up our mutation cards, we put them on the side. There are 5 in each deck. As I explained earlier, we will royal them every time we activate one of our land masses. We have plenty of dice, as you can see. They are used in 2 of our phases, the autocatalytic phase and our Darwin roll phase. So we'll just set our dice aside as well. Here we have our enzymes and bions, and what we're going to do is get out our, we have 3 eras in our decks of event cards: Hadean era, the Archean era, and the Proterozoic era. And each one of these cards represents about 200 million years. So these are the macroorganisms, and what we're going to try to do is turn our refugia into microorganisms and eventually turn them into macroorganisms. And you can see them right here. We have a number of different organisms here, and they have to do with various bits. I'm not quite sure all of it, but the idea is to have at least 2 of these at the end, or 1 of these at the end, the land. So we have some insects versus flatworms and sea stars. And we'll talk more of that when we get a little bit more into the game. So I just noticed as I was editing that I forgot to tell you how I got to here. So these are the parasite cards. 2 parasites go to the AI player, and 2 parasites go to me, the solo player. This is done randomly. Each one of the AIs gets a biont, and they will steal some of the building blocks of microorganisms in order to, as diseases. Our cards will just be using them as just a reminder of our colors, because we won't actually be playing against other people. Therefore, we won't be diseasing our own micro and macro organisms. So basically, I just randomized these, laid them out, put out 1 enzyme or catalyst to each, gave us our 3 bionts, our 1 biont, and our 1 biont. So this ends the first tutorial. This encompassed the unboxing, the organization, and the setup of BIOS Genesis. So we're going to end it here, and then we're going to go on to the part 2, which will be the play, which will be the Hadrian era. And we're going to have each era represented in play. So this will be at least 3 or 4 videos long, just to give you an idea of the complexity so that we can go over the rules. So we're going to be rules heavy for the first little while. And as play progresses and we get more familiar with the game together, we will speak less about what icons mean and what I'm doing on the here and how I'm deciding on stuff. But for now, we're going to take it step by step. But that is your basic setup. As I said, these are your refugia cards. We have our cosmic, ocean, coastal, continents. The inactive cards, our soup with our various cubes, our dice, our event cards, our macroorganisms, our 2, starting when you play with solo, you play with 2 different cards. Each hand gets its own turn, along with the 2 parasites over on there. That is your very basic setup. That was pretty easy. It only gets harder from there. So we're going to try to take a very slow view on how this game works. We're going to work through the iconology and how the game plays. So we're going to do it a little bit at a time, just so that we can teach you how to play the game.